story time with any Gina.
On the outskirts of a quiet town, nestled between the whispering woods and jagged cliffs, there was a mystery that had endured for generations. The town of Evershade was small, but it had a reputation for strange occurrences that no one ever seemed to fully explain. Among the villagers, one tale was shared around flickering hearths on chilly evenings: the story of the Crystal Cavern. It was said that deep within the heart of the mountain range stood an ancient cave, a hidden place filled with crystals that sparkled like starlight, and guarded by an elusive creature that no one had seen but all feared. Over the years, many had attempted to find the cavern, but none had returned. The town's elders warned the youth to stay away, but the lore of the legend was too strong for a group of daring adventurers. One such group was led by a young man named Julian Larkspur. Julian, with his untamed brown hair and eyes the color of the sea after a storm, had grown up listening to the stories of the cavern. Unlike most of his friends, who dismissed the tales as folklore, Julian believed in their truth. His grandmother, a woman of wisdom and mystery, had told him of the cavern's power, that it contained not just crystals, but an ancient force capable of changing the world. It was during the town's yearly harvest festival when Julian decided it was time to uncover the truth. He gathered his closest friends: Nora, a quick-witted scholar; Gavin, a skilled tracker with a heart full of courage; and Isla, a soft-spoken but talented healer. Together, they had spent their childhoods exploring the forests and hills surrounding Evershade. But the cave was a place none dared to venture. Until now, the group met on the evening of the festival, just as the sun dipped behind the trees, casting long shadows over the town. They packed their bags with supplies: rope, lanterns, food, and a map that Julian had found in his grandmother's attic, an old, weathered thing, but enough to give them direction. "You sure about this?" Nora asked, eyeing the map. "The last person who went looking for this place was the town's former mayor. He never came back." "I've heard the stories," Julian replied, his voice steady, "but I think we're ready. We can do this together." With a final glance at the town, the group set off towards the forest. The path was overgrown, winding through thick trees that whispered in the wind. As they moved deeper into the woods, the temperature dropped, and an eerie silence settled over them. The usual chirping of birds and rustling of leaves seemed to vanish, leaving only the sound of their footsteps and the occasional crack of a branch beneath their boots. Hours passed, and they reached the base of the mountain. The map indicated they were close, but there was no obvious entrance to the cavern. Julian, determined to find it, climbed up the side of the mountain, scanning the rocks for any sign of the entrance. He noticed something odd: a faint gleam, like moonlight reflecting off the stone. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light, but then he saw it again, a crack in the rock, hidden by vines. "Here," he called down, motioning for the others to join him. Together, they cleared away the vines, revealing a narrow passageway carved into the mountain. The air that seeped from the crack was cool and smelled faintly of earth and something else, something older. With a shared look of excitement and trepidation, the group entered the cavern. The tunnel was narrow and winding, with walls covered in strange markings and symbols that none of them could decipher. They walked cautiously, their lanterns casting flickering shadows on the walls. After what felt like hours, they reached a vast chamber. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into darkness, and the walls were lined with enormous crystals, each one glowing with a soft, otherworldly light. It was more beautiful than they had ever imagined, and yet something felt off. "This is it," Julian whispered, his voice filled with awe. "The Crystal Cavern." As they ventured deeper into the chamber, they noticed that the crystals were not just beautiful, they were also humming, vibrating with a strange energy. Julian could feel it in his bones, a kind of pull that urged him closer to the center of the cavern. But then, they heard it. A low, guttural growl echoed through the chamber, causing the group to freeze. From the shadows, a massive creature emerged, its eyes glowing a fiery red. It was unlike anything any of them had ever seen. A blend of animal and something far more sinister. Its fur was dark as night, and its teeth glistened like polished obsidian. The creature bared its fangs and took a step toward them. "You dare disturb the sanctity of the cavern?" It growled, its voice reverberating in their chests. Gavin, ever the brave one, stepped forward, his hand on the hilt of his sword. "We're not here to cause trouble," he said, his voice firm. "We seek knowledge." "What is this place?" The creature's eyes narrowed, and for a moment there was an eerie silence. Then, to their surprise, it spoke again, but this time, its tone was different, more somber. "This is the heart of the mountain," it said, "a place of power, forged long before your kind walked this earth. The crystals, you see, are not just jewels. They are the remnants of an ancient civilization, and their magic has been bound here for millennia." Nora stepped forward, her curiosity piqued. "But why guard it so fiercely?" "Because the magic here is dangerous," the creature replied, its voice tinged with sorrow. "It was once used to create great wonders, but also great destruction. Those who seek it without understanding may unleash a force that cannot be controlled." Julian, feeling the weight of the creature's words, asked, "What happened to the people who created it?" The creature's eyes softened. "They vanished long ago. But their magic, their legacy, still lingers. It has been waiting for someone who understands its true power." Isla, who had been silent up until now, stepped forward. "And how do we know if we are the ones who can control it?" The creature looked at her for a long moment before replying, "That is for you to discover." With that, the cavern seemed to shift, as if the walls themselves were alive. The crystal's light intensified, filling the space with a dazzling glow. The group stood in awe, feeling the weight of history pressing down on them. The creature watched them for a moment, longer, before turning toward the far end of the cavern. "There is a trial ahead," it said. "If you are worthy, you will learn the truth. If not, you will be lost to the mountain, like so many before you." Julian nodded. "We're ready." And so, with the creature's blessing, the group ventured deeper into the cavern, unaware of the trials that awaited them, and the incredible discovery that would change their lives forever. They had come to uncover the secrets of the crystal cavern, but in doing so, they would unlock a mystery for greater than they had ever imagined, one that would not only test their courage, but their very souls.
Thank you for watching. Please click on the subscribe button now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet. Love from Storytime with Auntie Gina.